Alright, how's it going, everyone? It is February, I want to say it's the 14th, maybe? 14th? And we got a nice day out, so I figured I'd make a video. About 2 weeks ago, I went, I live in Massachusetts, I went up to Maine and I bought a skid steer. And what I got is, I'll show you, is I got a Takeuchi TL240. Alright, I don't want to get too carried away here, okay? But I got a little pile of fill here that that we took off of a job. We dug out a hill for someone, a small hill, me and my son. But it's like, it was sandy, but you know when you carve out something that has a clay layer, the B layer on top, it mixes. So it makes pretty good structural fill if you ever want to backfill around something, because it packs but it still perks. Anyways, I just want to show you, like, this is what I like about Takeuchi machines. And like I said, I've run every one there is, and a lot of them have climbing problems. And for a construction guy who's used to running a dozer, I don't know what it is, but we get into a skid steer and the sucker won't push up a hill or something, we get mad. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm correct or I'm right. I mean, it's a skid steer. It's basically just a motorized wheelbarrow, so you don't have to take my opinion. I'm just showing you what I like about it. Okay, the reason I shut that machine off, alright, I shut that machine off because it is on an angle, and I don't want, see, these are pretty good, because the engine is like this, and I believe the oil pickup's in the back anyways, but this has an oil safety light, but I'll fire up, move it back down real quick, but never leave anything idling on a hill. Never even get out. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. And it sounds like I'm doing it for the exercise too. Anyways. Alright. So, I've done this before with a lot of other machines. Okay? I'm not saying that other machines won't do this. Alright? I've done this with a Cat 259. I've done this with 289D. That thing was nice. I didn't like the bucket though, it was too low, dirt came over it. However, I've never done a fairly straight push with a full bucket. Okay? Let's talk about the fact. Let's talk about the fact that this bucket, alright, here's my foot. This bucket's full of dirt. You know what I mean? Usually when I do this, the machines, you have to, as you're coming up, push off this way, push off that way, you know, empty the bucket. Go this way, empty the bucket, empty the bucket. It will not grab a full bucket and just push the bucket up the hill. You know? And this is all sandy stuff. It's not easy to, you know, get traction and track spin, but I mean, this thing still does pretty good. Alright, now I'm gonna get this thing down and then we'll talk a little bit about why this particular machine I chose and why it's not the greatest, but it's the greatest for me. So let me get this puppy down and then we'll talk. Alright, so here's the deal. I'm working in my kitchen and my wife and I are trying out some different colors, gray. So I'm just kind of like messing around over there. I'm actually building a countertop for an island because it's the winter and I don't really work too much in the winter. But well, let me just say this. Alright, the reason I got the Takeuchi, because it was the best deal for me. And by best deal for me, I mean I got grapple bucket, forks in the machine for $24.05. Now, I was looking at a local machine here. It was similar to that. Oh, and it's got brand new tracks on it. And there's a maintenance record on it. That's another thing. It's got low hours with a full maintenance record. The guy kept records on it. And he had to serve as the rental place. He bought it off a rental place, and I was kind of skeptical about buying off of a rental place. But it was a little local rental place. It wasn't like a United rental or, you know. However, I think he did buy the grapple bucket off of a United rental, which the grapple bucket's a 2012. My thing of it is with the whole purchase of the Takeuchi and why I went with the Takeuchi is because the thing pushes dirt, okay? It was the best deal for a machine that size at the time when I was looking that would push dirt. And when I say push dirt, I mean like its whole purpose in life is just push dirt. No, it doesn't ride smooth. I got some friends that are like, oh, I don't like the Takeuchi because it rides like a bulldozer. Yeah, well, no kidding. It's designed to push dirt and move dirt. Well, it doesn't ride smooth on pavement. Yeah, no kidding. It's not designed to ride. It's not designed to ride on pavement. If you want something that's designed to ride on pavement, get a four-wheel steering Bobcat, you know, and do donuts or whatever you want to do. I don't know. Now, my thing of it is I run every skid steer brand out there that there is. And I just personally think that for the money that somebody wants to spend outright with no payments, I think you get the most pushing power machine with the Takeuchi, you know, that is out there with reliability. So, see, there's the thing, like, there's a video on YouTube, Andrew Camerata was talking about how his Bobcats are always broke. He's always fixing his Bobcats. And his friend has a rental place, and he told him he should get a Takeuchi. He ended up getting, it looks like he got an IHI, which is similar. In one of his videos, he was saying, like, the layout of the cab, you know, if you had to work on it. You know, if you had to work on it, it would be easy. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to, because they don't break that often. I had the last one I had for 11 years. Okay, remember that. 11 years. I didn't use the thing 8 hours a day all day long, right? But I did use the thing at least a few times a week for at least 4 or 5 hours a week, whatever. But 11 years. The most I ever did to that thing was I put a set of tracks on it, okay? I put one set of tracks on it. I put a thermostat in it. And when I first bought the thing, I broke. It didn't break on its own. I was an idiot, and I broke the quick connect thing because I was just forcing it like a total, just an animal. It wouldn't do what I wanted to do. I was mad. I was angry. I used to have a temper or whatever. You know, when you're a young guy and you know you don't know any better. You don't have any finesse, as my dad would say. You gotta finesse it a little. Well, it was in the summer, the thing built up pressure, and I shoved the thing in there, and it wouldn't go, so I forced it in there, and it got kind of in there crooked, and I pushed down on it somehow, I yanked it out, and all the guts came out. It was like a bunch of ball bearings and some plastic ring. So you can't even really count that, because that's total operator error. Alright? So in 11 years, I put a thermostat and a set of tracks on it. Let's forget the thing that I broke. Okay? 11 years. Now, that Camerata video, he's always talking about his Bobcats breaking. Now, don't get me wrong. When I first got into doing stuff, I wanted a T190. I actually wanted a T190. This was years ago. It was a gold package, you know, because it had the quick attach, whatever. And I went into the dealership, and the guy looked me in the face and just kind of looked up and down like, pfft, and said, here, goes into a file cabinet and says, here, kid, fill this out, and then we'll talk, and throws a credit application at me. So I got mad, you know what I mean? I got mad. It was embarrassing because he did it in front of other people. You know, it made me feel like, you know, I was like a nothing, a chump. So I went down to the street to the other place. You know, they're out of business. And I got a Gel, which I found out later. Gel is, that was a 2005 Gel. And that was the year that Gel bought into, like, Takeuchi, I think Mustang and IHI. That's why... If you look at some of their loader frames on their skid loaders around that year, the mid-2000s, they all look the same. It's the same undercarriage. I bought all my parts from, when that place went out of business, I bought all my parts for that Gel from Takeuchi. Because that Gel CTL 70, believe it or not, is actually Takeuchi... Did I say Takeuchi? I bought them from Takeuchi? Yeah, I bought my parts from Takeuchi because the Gel CTL 70... is actually a Takeuchi 140. And a Takeuchi 140 is, now what I have is a TL 240. And then after that it became the TL 10. And then I think the new ones you can get a vertical TL 10 V2 or V something vertical. I don't know. I don't get into that stuff because they have emissions. That's another thing too. This is like one of the last years you could get a machine, you know, that size without emissions stuff. I mean, you can get a small machine now without emissions, but it's just that it's small. Okay, so I got that machine because the price was right, the machine was right, the deal was right. I have no loyalty to brands. It just so happens that brand is working out, so that's why I got that thing. And I had a friend say to me the other day, he was talking about machines and getting started and everything. And I gotta be honest with you, if you're gonna start a business, or you're gonna start something, or in my case, I've done business stuff off and on for years. You know, I get burnt out and then I take a break and then I do it again. But honestly, you need to look at the best deal for you. You can't look at what somebody else has got and say, oh, this guy got a brand new this or a brand new that. Because I was looking at a brand new Kubota. I really like that Kubota 75, I think it is. I really like that machine. But the problem is I don't have the what do you call it? I'm not gonna go spend money on that thing. That would be a finance thing. You know what I mean? That's not something I could comfortably just buy outright. You know, like this one here. I was comfortable with buying it outright. It was $24,500. But I can't buy a brand new machine outright, and I don't want to pay the payments, and I don't want to tie up $24,500 as throwing down, because you could throw $24,500 down and you get a smaller payment, right? But now you're still paying and you're out the $24,500 is how I look at it. So like, you don't have the $24,500 anymore, and you still have that, and you have the machine. So I would either do 0 down and do the whole payment, or I would you know, and keep the $24,500 in my account or whatever, you know, part of working capital, or you know, I would do like what I did, buy the thing completely outright, and then it's easier to put your money back, make your money back, your working capital back. This is just my thoughts, and I'm not a professional finance guy. You got to do what's right for you. This is right for me, and that's what I'm trying to say. And I was trying to tell my friend the other day, do whatever is right for you, but don't think that what's right for the guy, the guy next to you or whatever, is right for you. Just because Joe Blow down the street got a brand new Cat 299, or the guy up the street's got a brand new Bobcat, I don't even know what that was, it 770 or something like that, or a brand new John Deere, or whatever the case is. You get the point. That doesn't mean anything. That guy's, either he has big business and his accountant told him you need to do this, for the payment on the write-off, or he's just trying to keep up with the Jones. Now, where I live, I'll tell you one thing. Where I live in Massachusetts on Cape Cod. And everybody around here is just trying to keep up with the Jones. Everybody's always so stuck up everyone else's butt as far as like, oh, this guy got that. Oh, that guy got that. Did you see so-and-so got this brand new thing? Oh, this guy must be doing good. He just got a brand new cat. I heard it the other day. This guy, oh, you see so-and-so got a brand new, it was some big cat excavators, one of the new zero turn ones. And so what happens is these guys all think that they need to do that. Oh, so-and-so got a new triaxle. So they go out and they buy that. I'm all about the deal, okay? And the Takeuchi, I find, is the best deal for reliability, pushing dirt, and they've been around a long time, so you can get a large Takeuchi machine still for a reasonable price. Whereas a lot of the new Takeuchi, a lot of the new other machines haven't been around in the track machine as long as Takeuchi. So they're still kind of like up there in price. And then you run into the emissions crap. So for me, I think the Takeuchi is great because, number one, maintenance on that thing. I don't know if anybody's ever been under one of them. I'm sure some of you have. If you park that thing, you drive that thing on a couple blocks, right? When I had my other one, I would do this in the summer, when it's hot out. Drive that thing up on a couple blocks so it's higher off the ground. Take a creeper, roll under it with an air gun, zip, zip, zip all the bolts down. The whole bottom of the thing is accessible. All the steel plates fall down. You take all the bolts out, all the steel plates come down. And take a little Dawn, open the cab. You open the cab up, you can see right to the ground. The whole machine just completely opens up. Take a little Dawn dish soap and a pump sprayer, do the whole thing. Don't use degreaser because I found, unless you get some good stuff, a friend of mine has this good stuff that the Army uses, non-corrosive. But like if you go down to the auto parts store and you just get whatever degreaser at the hardware store, a lot of times it's corrosive. I learned that because it started rusting. I cleaned something else with it and it started rusting like instantly. And it fades paint. But just Dawn dish soap. You know what I mean? Keep it simple. Just spray the whole thing with Dawn dish soap. Go for a coffee or lunch with the wife. Come back. Take your pressure washer or just your hose. I used to just use my hose and just hose off everything, all the dirt, all that. Take a look around, inspect anything, and then, let it all dry out. Close it back up. You can put Never Season on the bolts if you want, but just creep under there. Zing, zing, zing. I used to keep all the bolts in a Ziploc bag, and then, you know what? The thing's good to go. And that was it. And the other thing I like about the Takeuchi too, there's a grate in the floor. I throw the floor mat out, okay? I throw the floor mat out. The last one I had, I unbolted the floor pan, took it down to the Line-X dealer, and I had the floor pan Line-X. I don't like floor mats in machines because they hold dirt under them. And then they get moisture and it turns to mud. And next thing you know, you're dealing with rust and rot. Okay, from like muddy, wet feet and everything. So I throw the thing right out. The last one I had, the Takeuchi has a little grate in the floor where you sweep the dirt down and it goes straight down to the ground. It's like a piece of box tubing that goes right to the ground. Well, I took the floor pan out, I welded two nuts in there, made a little plate that bolts to it, took it down, a friend of mine Linexed it, and I put it back in. Now you have a rubber floor, but there's no floor mat, so there's no moisture getting trapped under it. Okay? I like the Takeuchi, actually, I love the Takeuchi for maintenance reasons. Maintenance reasons and reliability and pushing. Those are my three things. Maintenance, reliability, and pushing power. It's not because it came with cool stickers and mud flaps. And if that's what you're into, I mean, go for it. But I mean, there's no shame in finding a used deal on something. You know, you gotta do what's best for you to be in business. And like, I mean, we all get into business because we want to make money. So, you know, if you're breaking it, you ain't making it. So I hope that helps. Anyways, have a good one.